How to be a man. Like it or not, it takes more than a pair of cojones to achieve manhood. Cultures around the world have rites of passage to symbolize it, as well as customs to preserve it. This article focuses on the journey from boyhood to manhood, rather than any fundamental difference between men and women. Although there is no one way to categorize manliness, there are certain attributes that people all around the world consider manly. Here are a few. Mind. Know yourself. Find out who you are and be happy with that person. There's no one way to be a man. A real man can be a logger who wears plaid and doesn't shower for 10 days. A real man can also be a professor who talks about Milton and Shakespeare. All men, however, know who they are and respect themselves in and out. Be knowledgeable about something. It doesn't really matter what it is, but you should consider yourself pretty familiar with one area of expertise. Men may not be able to, or want to, use fancy, $2 words, but when it comes time to getting things done, they know how to act. They use their smarts to get it done. What area of expertise do you know? Here are just a few areas you might consider diving into. General knowledge. You're the jack of all trades. You could win a pretty penny on Jeopardy! If you cared at all about being on TV. You know the difference between participles and parts of speech, pterodactyls and torrentious, and a $99 suit and a $6,000 suit. Cars. Men flock to cars for the same reason they flock to women: they're beautiful, intriguing, complex. No wonder men refer to cars in feminine terms. Maybe you're the kind of man whose buddies bring their car to when they need a clutch replaced or the oil changed. History. Increasingly rare, the man who's a student of history gives himself the benefit of a very wide lens when contemplating problems. He can draw on Roman artillery strategy, Cold War negotiating tactics, and obscure French economic policy, among others. He knows that history isn't just about preventing the mistakes of the past from happening in the future. Women. Some men turn the opposite sex into a field of study. If you want to be knowledgeable about women, be prepared to make mistakes and learn from them. There's nothing worse than a man who thinks he's God's gift to women, but who's stubbornly insulting, cavalier, and clueless. Know when you've made a mistake and know when to say "I'm sorry." There's nothing wrong with making a mistake. Only the insecure man thinks that making a mistake is bad, because he's not comfortable with who he is in the first place. Confident men know when they're wrong and aren't afraid to admit it. Learn to say "I'm sorry" in different ways. Men know that saying sorry doesn't always have to be verbal. A ticket to a baseball game, breakfast in bed, and a camping trip are all ways to say "I'm sorry" without moving the old vocal cords back and forth. Men know that these are often more effective ways of communicating regret than 2 measly words. Were you taught that being tough means suppressing emotion, holding in tears, and never exposing vulnerability? The drawback here is that you also learn to internalize and suppress these emotions, which then fester and get worse. Focus on being a different kind of tough. Be a reliable, strong figure who can handle adversity. Were you taught to hate, fear anyone who's homosexual? Understand that only one thing makes you gay: having a romantic and sexual preference for people of the same gender. The kind of music you like, the clothes you wear, whether you cry at sad movies, buying your wife flowers, being sensitive or nice to others, none of that makes you gay. Outward displays of homophobia point to a man's own sexual insecurity, not his prowess. Body. Clean yourself, even if you are living out in the woods. A man knows that cleaning one's body is necessary, every animal does it, but don't fall into the trap of grooming yourself as part of some modernist social trend. Grooming has become a business, and corporations and companies never tire of convincing you that you need endless amounts of unnecessary products. The modern grooming and manscaping business is all done in order to make money, not because it's noble, healthy or moral. You don't have to shave every day, especially not if you are growing a beard. Some men cannot grow a proper beard, maybe then it's better to stay clean-shaven. Other men have very good beard growth, which is nature's call to them to grow a full beard. Men tend to be afraid of what women think of facial hair, but truth is that men are not slaves to women. No woman should dominate you into shaving your beard when you don't want to. Be yourself, as nature created you, be your own master. Don't shave your chest or body hair in general. You don't have to live up to any nonsensical and superficial image of smooth, chiseled, plastic man created by modern fashion, advertising and movie industry, again in order to make money. Be proud of what makes you a man, and the physical attributes nature has created to give you your male identity. Spirit. Develop your own principles. A man isn't always comfortable being judge, jury, and executioner, but he knows right from wrong and expects others to play by the same rules. Look inside yourself and ask, would I want someone else doing that to me? This should help you develop principles to live by. A man never steals, even if he is desperate. A desperate man learns to ask others to help him instead of helping himself to something he is not entitled to. A man helps others in need. He knows when others are down on their luck and need a helping hand, even if the utility lies in the gesture itself. A man trusts his friends, significant others, and family. He follows through with what he says he'll do and expects others to do the same. A man never lies, to himself or others. He develops a conscience that gives him good feedback and allows him to be comfortable with the truth, even if it hurts. Develop your own principles. A man isn't always comfortable being judge, jury, and executioner, but he knows right from wrong and expects others to play by the same rules. Look inside yourself and ask, would I want someone else doing that to me? This should help you develop principles to live by. A man never steals, even if he is desperate. A desperate man learns to ask others to help him instead of helping himself to something he is not entitled to. A man helps others in need. He knows when others are down on their luck and need a helping hand, even if the utility lies in the gesture itself. A man trusts his friends, significant others, and family. He follows through with what he says he'll do and expects others to do the same. A man never lies, to himself or others. He develops a conscience that gives him good feedback and allows him to be comfortable with the truth, even if it hurts. Seek responsibility and take responsibility for your actions. The main difference between a man and a boy, an adult and a child, is that men are responsible. Men honor their commitments, accept their duties and are accountable for their actions. Men clean up after themselves, figuratively and literally. Learn to make sacrifices for the people you love and care about. Making sacrifices is part of growing up, whether you like it or not. The difference between a man and a boy is that a man steps up to the plate, while a boy hesitates or complains. Especially for the people in his life that he loves, a man looks at sacrifice, whether it means devoting time, money or other resources to people aside from himself, as his duty. Be a good man. Integrity is doing the right thing, for the right reason, even when no one is watching. It can be tempting to think that by meeting your self-defined responsibilities as a man, your job is done, but that doesn't always make you a good person. Never stop trying to do the right thing and re-evaluating your character and integrity. If you're going to be a man, be a good man, or else it's no better than remaining a boy.